Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? All right, happy Black Lives Matter Day. Happy Black Lives Matter Day. Happy Black Lives Matter Day. My name is Dr. Joseph Cooper. We want this to be a day full of joy, celebration. Obviously, some of the topics that we'll be talking about also take into account some of the pain that has impacted Black people, not only at the university, but throughout our community here in Boston and worldwide. But more importantly, we want to focus on our collective resolve, how we utilize various resources within our families, our communities, our associations, our organizations, to combat anti-Black racism and to promote human harmony across racial groups. I have the privilege of serving as your special assistant to the Chancellor for Black Life. My name is Dr. Joseph Cooper. Today, we are celebrating Black Lives Matter Day. This is our third annual Black Lives Matter Day. The event was founded by Pilar Nelson, who was a former Residence Hall director here at the university, and the Chancellor instituted Black Lives Matter Day as a formal day every year, the first Monday of November, where we will be celebrating Black lives, not only here on campus, but throughout the community and worldwide. We have a day full of great activities, panelists, keynote speeches, student performances, community artists, workshops, facilitations, and it will be a tremendous time. So we certainly hope that all you students particularly get on social media, tweet out, hashtag Black Lives Matter Day here at UMass Boston, and all faculty, staff, please encourage your colleagues to stop in throughout the day. I have the honor and privilege of introducing our Chancellor, Marcelo Suarez Orozco, for our opening remarks for our third annual Black Lives Matter Day. Chancellor.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Good morning. Welcome to UMass Boston's third annual Black Lives Matter Day. I am delighted to be here with you for what promises to be a day of Black joy and action in our quest for racial justice. As you know, the Black Lives Matter movement emerged in 2013 after the acquittal of the individual who killed a young Black man named Tyrone Martin in Sanford, Florida. It was initiated by a potent hashtag, @Black Lives Matter, posted by the movement's founders, three courageous Black women, Patrice Cancolas, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi. That hashtag went viral all over the world. And in the 9 years since, the movement has evolved into a global call for action. UMass Boston is now among the institutions that observe Black Lives Matter Day during the calendar year. In 2020, when I moved to establish Black Lives Matter Day at UMass Boston, now, as the eminent professor noted, held every first Monday in November, I saw it as an opportunity for Beacons to deepen our understanding of police brutality, acts of anti-Black racism, and systemic discrimination. It is also an occasion to celebrate Black creativity and agency. And today's program will tout a beautiful resistance. Black excellence through art expression and leadership. The breakout sessions and discussions led by a group of outstanding Black artists and activists are meant to highlight the importance of music and art in championing racial and social justice and honor the legacies of Black artists like Phyllis Wheatley, Langston Hughes, Marvin Gaye, Whitney Houston, Harry Belafonte, Maya Angelou, and so many other Black artists from Boston, from throughout the Commonwealth, including our colleagues, our participants in today's program. I believe that celebrating Black Lives Matter Day is critical to UMass Boston in our efforts to become a leading anti-racist, health-promoting institution. As a university community of educators, scholars, activists, we seek to expand the essential dialogue about intersecting identities, lived experiences, as we work to create a more inclusive, a more humane, a more just UMass Boston. We welcome a more complete understanding of Black lives and the Black Lives Matter movement so that our students may find transformative meaning in the historic events of recent years. And we acknowledge the history of anti-Black racism in Boston, as well as the progress our city has made, is making on racial justice. And so, Black Lives Matter Day, we honor Black brilliance, Black beauty, Black joy, and the Black legacy at UMass Boston, and appreciate the social, cultural, scientific, and intellectual contributions of every Black student, staff, faculty, and administrator who has ever set foot on this campus. It is also a moment to affirm UMass Boston's commitment to the improvement of life, Black life. To that end, I have established the first ever George Floyd Honorary Scholarship in the system, created the Restorative Justice Commission, established the first ever in the University of Massachusetts system, Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Black Life, a position held by Dr. Joseph Cooper. I am committed to advancing, strengthening the William Monroe Trotter Institute for the Study of Black Culture and the Department of Africana Studies. Today and every day, we express our gratitude for Black students, alumni, staff, faculty, administrators, trustees, and members of the family, community members, who have contributed immeasurably to the improvement of UMass Boston and our world at this challenging moment in a world that is ever more miniaturized, ever more interconnected, ever more fragile. Let me close by thanking Dr. Cooper and his colleagues for the hard work in curating and organizing a compelling Black Lives Matter Day program. Let us seize the day, our hearts and minds, learn and heed the call to action in the service of a stronger, more resilient, more loving, more humane, more inclusive UMass Boston community. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Suarez Orozco, for that great welcome. At this time, we're going to have some of our student leaders come and speak. One of the feedback we received last year, and we took it to heart, was making sure that we had student inclusion from the start of the day to the end of the day. So we wanted to make sure we started our day with our Black students. We have a student performance after our panel this morning at 10:30 by the African Students Union. So we certainly hope that you're able to tune in for that. But at this time, I have the pleasure of introducing one of our outstanding student leaders, Mrs. Isabel DePina.
Black Lives Matters. Okay, I'm kind of nervous, okay. Hello, my name is Isabel DePina. I have a BA in Labor Studies, and I am in the Master Program in Conflict Resolution. I'm a person of color that is a student leader, and I'm an activist fighting for justice for our BIPOC students and families, faculty, and staff. I am the president of Public Higher Education Network in Massachusetts, and I fight for education justice and cancel student debt. Especially for our BIPOC students. We need to defund the UMB police, and we need a diversity training. They were a resolution, but the university didn't do nothing about it. We need to change general education requirements, and it's been 20 years. And this is why there's still structural racism. Okay. In our society, please be a role model. UMass Boston, I'm pleading with you. Be anti-racist right now. We need to be anti-racist once and for all. Thank you. And Black Lives Matter, okay?
Isabel is also a member of our planning committee, and the performers that we have this afternoon, Mathematics and Exit Fame, are directly as a result of Isabel's invitation. So thank you, Isabel, for your courageous leadership on campus, for always speaking your truth, and for working with various people on campus to ignite the change that needs to happen. So thank you. Next up, I'd like to introduce Mr. Emmanuel Apai Kubi, who is a senior biology major, interested in pursuing his graduate degree. He's also a proud member of My Brother's Keeper, which is the national mentoring program established by President Barack Obama in 2014, Emmanuel mentors a young student at Dever Elementary School. He's very active in the Christian Student Association on campus and is a great role model here on campus. And I'm proud to call him one of my mentees. Emmanuel, come on up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel Pierkubi. I'm a senior here at UMass Boston studying biology. I'm currently part of the My Brother's Keeper chapter here at UMass Boston. I am the secretary, and I am majoring in biology. I'm looking forward to, after graduating, pursuing a degree in physician assistance studies here at in Boston. As part of the My Brother's Keeper chapter here at UMass Boston, we're partnered with the Paul Dever Elementary School. There we have mentoring sessions with mentees once a week where we go over activities, we do homework, and we just show these young brown and black boys that someone like you who was in your shoes can succeed, go to college, accomplish it, and get a good job. And just paving the way for them, making the way for these young brown and black men to show them that you don't have to live up to the stereotypes that society puts on you. We are here to show you the way, to show you one way you can just pursue whatever you want to accomplish. Currently my mentee, he is interested in computer science. I've introduced him to the major here at UMass Boston, and he seems really interested. I hope to continue to meet with him every week and continue to pursue and enhance his enrichment at the Paul Dever Elementary School. Thank you.
All right, we are on time, and I know some of you may have been surprised about that, but we are on time. Out of all events, I want you all to remember Black Lives Matter Day was on schedule all time today. I have the pleasure of also giving a couple brief announcements. One, we have currently going on right now a National Assessment of Collegiate Campus Climate Survey. You see information on all of the tables here. All students who are enrolled at UMass Boston, graduate and undergraduate, have received a unique email requesting their participation in the 15-minute survey. This survey is critically important to our efforts in improving our campus climate. As Isabel highlighted, we are seeking to become a leading anti-racist and health-promoting institution. In order to do that, we need to hear students' voices, a wide range of student voices about their experiences here on campus, including their racialized and intersecting experiences here on campus based on their intersecting identities. So please encourage your students to complete the survey. As a faculty member, I set aside 15 minutes in my class for students to complete it, and they greatly appreciated the opportunity to express their voice. A couple of other announcements I want to mention. For those who are unaware, in the spring semester, we will be having the Amilcar Cabral and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day event, so stay tuned. We'll be sending out information from that, which is hosted by our Africana Studies Department. There'll also be an anniversary event in the spring as well, so we'll be sending out more information for that. Also, next summer, here in the city of Boston, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People will be hosting their national convention here in the city of Boston. So they're calling for volunteers. If you're interested, please email me at blacklife@umb.edu, and I can connect you with the Boston chapter president, Mrs. Tanisha Sullivan. A couple of other great announcements I'd like to highlight before we get into our keynote panel for today. This year, we were able to establish a National Society for Black Engineers chapter here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. That deserves a round of applause. One of the critical areas that we have underrepresentation is in the STEM fields. We know that more intervention is necessary. We need to create more pathways. We need to remove barriers. We need more mentors. We need more culturally responsive support. And we need more role models in the STEM fields as well as a number of fields. I'm incredibly proud of our students who worked really hard to get the National Society of Black Engineers here at the university. Also, as you heard Emmanuel speak on behalf of My Brother's Keeper, I'm pleased to let you know that we're working with a group of talented Black women students here on campus to establish a My Sister's Keeper, which will be an intergenerational mentoring program. For Black girls in Boston, specifically in the Boston public schools. Oftentimes when we have conversations about issues impacting our Black communities, we tend to gender the issue, where we say only Black boys, only Black girls, only Black young people who identify as transgender or queer. And in order to have a healthy community, all of Black people need to be healthy, need to be supported, need to be loved and developed. So we're very excited about My Sister's Keeper, and we will continue with that work. Also, if the clicker works here, for all those who are online, please feel free to scan the QR code there for information about the program for today, so you'll be able to access that there. Also, I would like to say a special thank you to our planning committee. I'd like to say a very special thank you to my lovely wife, Dr. Monique Cooper. I know she doesn't want me to embarrass her, but I think it's important to tell our loved ones that we love them and we appreciate them. Dr. Cooper, your tremendous organizational and leadership skills made this event everything that it is. So all of the things that you all love about the event, please give credit to Dr. Cooper. Also want to say a special thank you to Ms. Cynthia Oriana, Dr. Shakita Baylor, Dr. Stephen Neville, Dr. Georgiana Melendez, Ms. Isabel DePina, and Cassie Ozzie Neon for your tremendous support as committee members, for helping secure sponsorships, to recruit community artists, and to overall develop the day. So thank you very much for your involvement. Want to say a special thank you to all of our sponsors: Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Student Equity, Access, and Success, Office of Community Partnerships, and Housing and Residential Life. Special thanks to Rose Canavini, Wendy Lancaster, and Ed Hazel, and an entire university communications and marketing team. I don't know about you all, but if you don't have a t-shirt, please grab one. The marketing team did an outstanding job coming up with the logo, the color scheme, which is very Afrocentric, and we're very excited about it. I'd like to say thank you to Andy Allen, Diane D'Arrigo, and the entire university catering team. If you haven't had breakfast, please feel free to grab it. To Mr. Jeff Combs and Caitlin Satelia and the entire event services team. Many of us have hosted events throughout the year, and without the event services teams, these events would not be able to happen. We had a voting registration event in this exact same room a couple of weeks ago, and by the way, reminder, tomorrow is election day, so if you haven't casted your vote, we encourage you to exercise civic engagement, but they did an outstanding job assisting us. Mr. Peter Kelly, O'Day Kraskian of the Chancellor's Office, all of our Black student organizations who you'll be seeing throughout the day, and all of our volunteers for your time and effort throughout today. My final remarks before I get out your way, we have to say some great congratulations to recent faculty who have been promoted to full professors, those who've also been promoted to tenure and promotion to associate professor, and then a special promotion to interim dean, which we'll be announcing here momentarily. So we'd like to say congratulations to Professor Jemedari Kamara of Africana Studies to being promoted to professor. Like to say congratulations to Professor Lisa Gonzalez, professor in College of Education and Human Development. Congratulations to Professor Denise Patman, who's also our department chair of Leadership and Education and Dean of Faculty. Dr. Patman wears many hats at this university, and she's been doing great work here for a very long time. Thank you all for everything that you do. Congratulations to Interim Dean and Professor Dr. Tara Parker. Thank you, Dr. Parker, for your outstanding leadership and for all that you do on campus and in the community. Also, congratulations to Associate Professor David DeGrasse Valabrege. David is one of our mathematics professors, and he and I, along with the staff in VPAS, have been working to address some of the problematic retention trends in our early gateway mathematics courses and in our STEM majors. So we're in the process of creating interventions around academic support to identify what are the best ways to support the students, and also working with the faculty in better ways to support students in being retained in those courses and matriculating, particularly in the sciences and mathematics. So thank you, David, for your outstanding leadership with that effort. I'd like to say congratulations to Associate Professor Kenneth Fletcher. Congratulations to Associate Professor Nidra Lee, who is also our Vice President of our Black Faculty, Staff, and Student Association. Also want to give a special shout out to our Black Faculty, Staff, and Student Association leaders, President and Associate Professor Dr. Tahira Abdullah, Vice President and Associate Professor Dr. Nidra Lee, and Treasurer and Assistant Professor Dana Miranda. They started their leadership within BFSSA this year, have been having monthly meetings, including developing bylaws, organizing the organization to advocate on behalf of Black faculty, staff, and students on campus. So thank you three for your outstanding leadership thus far. Also want to give a special shout out for those who don't know to our Black student organizations at the university. We have the Black Student Center. I know some of the representatives are in the room. Feel free to wave your hands. The African Students Union, which you'll be seeing an outstanding performance, a dance performance from them later today. The Haitian American Society, My Brother's Keeper, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the National Society for Black Engineers, and the Pan-African Graduate Students Association. If you're interested in supporting any of our Black student associations, please feel free to email me at blacklife@umb.edu. Our students are doing great work, not only on campus, in the community. Many of them are traveling abroad and continuing their education and having an impact beyond international borders. We want to continue to support them, including adding to the George Floyd Honorary Scholarship, which the Chancellor has established. So, without further ado, I have the esteemed pleasure, if you did not know, Beautiful Resistance. The title of today's event is not original to UMass Boston. I have the pleasure of introducing Janae Osternhelt, who's a columnist of the Boston Globe, who, if you haven't read her editorial on A Beautiful Resistance and seen the tremendous work that she's published, please take time to do that. Today is about celebrating Black excellence through the arts, through music, through dance. We have an all-star cast of community leaders, advocates, activists, and artists here throughout the day. Not only do we want you all to enjoy the day and learn and grow and develop, but more importantly, we want you to continue to support these artists after you leave today. So we hope that you'll be exposed to the great work that they're doing, that you will continue to support them in their efforts, and we can continue to welcome them back here on campus day after day. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our keynote panel to come on up. The moderator will be Janae Osternhelt of Boston Globe. Our panelists, Andres Holder, Executive Director of the Boston Children's Choir, Catherine T. Morris, Founder and Artistic Director of BAM Fest, O.J. Slaughter, Photographer and Creative Director, and Jean Apollon, Artistic Director and Co-Founder of JIE. If we could give them a round of applause.
you in person.
Good morning. Good morning. Y'all look beautiful. I'm Janae Osterheld, Boston Globe culture columnist and resident troublemaker, and creator of A Beautiful Resistance. Before I get into this amazing panel with these amazing humans, I just want to be in gratitude for a second for all of you. When I created A Beautiful Resistance, it was in a time of deep despair and pain. I had gone to George Floyd's funeral to cover it, and I was just exhausted from the number of stories I've had to write about murdered Black folks, and how it seems too often we're defined by our death and our brutality instead of celebrated for our love and joy and beauty. And I never could have imagined that a college campus would be celebrating Black Lives Matter through the lens of A Beautiful Resistance. So I just want to, I'm like really overwhelmed, so thank you. Now I feel like a punk. All right, I promise I'm a G. Thugs cry too.
I feel like every time we talk, we cry. It's okay.
Those who know me know. O.J. Slaughter is one of the most amazing and brilliant photographers of our generation. They document the history of now. They document what will be known as the past, and they celebrate our future. I'm so grateful for their work and that serendipity brought us together and that we get to share the stage. Andres does the good Lord's work with Boston Children's Chorus in understanding the power of song and how it's always carried us through movements, through resistance, held our faith, and kept us here. Thank you. I'm very happy to finally meet you in person. And listen, no, really, like, I once wrote a whole essay about Kat Morris because that's how much work Kat has done in this city. Catherine T. Morris has done in this city to celebrate us, make room for us. And while Black folks may be leaving Boston, Catherine came back and deeply rooted herself in a way that brought others here, that's bringing thousands here, and that's reminding people why it's worth living here, celebrating here, and loving here. So those are my introductions. You can find all of these amazing people on the internets. I invite all of you to share your beautiful resistance at Instagram.com/abeautifulresistance, BostonGlobe.com/abeautifulresistance. Joy is all of ours. I want to see your faces. Let's get into this conversation. OJ, let's talk about art as a tool of resistance and why it's necessary in the movement.
Okay, deep breath. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I think when I first started to create, I started to create out of necessity. I started creating out of a place where I needed access to things that I didn't have. I was making images on a crappy camera. I couldn't afford to get into museums, and it exhausted me. I worked for so long just to survive. What I was doing, maybe not wrong, but with the best of my coping mechanism, was absorbing my life into my art. When I switched it on to be my power, to being the thing that fueled me, to being the thing that acted as my armor, it changed my life, both my mental health, my physical health, and how I treated the love in my relationships and my family around me. And my family, I mean chosen family, right? Art is therapy, and being able to tell your own history, which is a mainstay of what I do, as I Sorry, I haven't spoken in public since May. So, I was like, what did I say? Um, I realized that no matter what I make, whether it's, excuse my French, but my crappy drawings, that means something to me and nothing else. If it's I'm crocheting, if it's anything that takes me away from doom scrolling and checks me back into my body, it's resisting. Nobody else has to see it. And the power is in my hands. It could be with a Razr flip phone. It could be with my iPhone camera. It could be with something that I found at the thrift store. Creating at any point is creating joy, and nobody wants to see people happy. I mean, we all do, but there's a lot of people that don't want to see us happy, right? Yeah, so my best form of resistance is to create and to create for others and to create a world where people can step into it and maybe just take a break from there every day.
Oh no, you could clap. Remind them that they are not rusty speaking in public. You still got it.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, Andres made a joke that he was in a line of fire, so I'm gonna save him for last. Catherine, everyone celebrates you for BAMS Fest, and I will always celebrate you for BAMS Fest, but what you've done at the Gardner and at the Boston Foundation is critical, and not that BAMS Fest isn't, because it is, you know. Support BAMS Fest. But can you talk a little bit about what it means to have institutional power and be able to fund other artists and get that type of space when we're talking about making art and creating space to share it with one another?
Good morning. Ooh, that was good. All right. Amen. Church. Okay. Institutional power, that's a great question. If you had asked me years ago if I was going to be in philanthropy, I would have laughed at you. Like, no, don't want to be writing checks. But what I've learned is that institutional power is a privilege, and I don't take it for granted. My whole life purpose is to create opportunity for creative people. Hell or high water, whatever that looks like. And especially when it comes to supporting artists, creative entrepreneurs, cultural workers, it is my service to them. I firmly believe that making art is the hardest job in the world. Think about it. You have to get up every single day, create something out of nothing, put it out in the world, get judged for it, maybe get paid, maybe take you on tour, sit on a panel, and then do that every single day for the rest of your life. That's a hard job. And you have to find it within yourself to create, no matter what the circumstances are. Even if you are frustrated, if you feel like you're not getting someplace, or you're not in front of the right audience, you still have to keep pushing in a world that wants to shut you out because they don't see the value of what art does. It transforms lives. It changes neighborhoods. It challenges policy. It puts people in office. So for me, in all these institutional roles, I do not take it for granted that artists have power. And I just want to amplify that as much as possible.
Thank you. Andres, I talked a little bit about song and the way it's carried us through movements, but how many of you first learned to sing when you were little? You know, random little, yep. Can you talk a little bit about how song cultivates voice and why it's important children are empowered through music? I gave you an easy one.
Thank you. Good morning. Buenos días. Yo no estaría aquí en esta mañana tan bella afuera si no hubiera sido por el poder de las artes. Don't worry, I'm going to say this in English. It's okay. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you on this beautiful morning had it not been for the power of arts and music. I come from a family of non-artists. My father is a pediatrician. My grandfather, his father, was a painter, not art painter, but painting the walls literally for the Panama Canal. We came from a family where art and culture wasn't really present. There wasn't a talent base. But somehow I stumbled onto Panamanian folk dancing, and that made me stumble into studying the oboe, and that made me stumble into playing the guitar, and that made me stumble into theater. And I'm holding a microphone up here in front of you through a crazy journey that has made me more confident in myself, more confident in my abilities, has made me understand the power that I have and the commitment I have to unlocking that power in other people. So for me, through the work at Boston Children's Chorus, it becomes imperative for young people to have a voice, because I was given that voice thanks to my investment in the arts, my investment in music, my investment in building community through the art that I was studying and learning. So I don't see it as an option. People often talk about young people as the leaders of tomorrow. I see young people leading us today, if only we were smart enough to pay attention. And you know, people at BCC keep us on our toes, and it's the accountability and really the barometer for the work that we do is, are we in deep community with the young people that we serve?
That part, young people are leading us right now, and they always have been, always. I feel like when you are a maker, when you're a space holder, artist, creative of any kind, people often, as much as they love you and have this deep reverence for you, sometimes they forget life is happening to you too. You know, life is always happening to all of us at the same time. And, you know, this year was like my Humpty Dumpty put herself together again year, where I was like deeply just shattered from having a stalker and, you know, death threats, all these crazy things from the work. And it's not that it hadn't happened to me at other points in my 20-year career, but I think this year more than ever, I realized how much people sort of dehumanized me. And I know that happens to kind of a lot of makers. So I wanted to talk to you about, how do you find the harmony? I'm done talking about balance. I don't know that I believe in that anymore. I believe in harmony. So how do you find the harmony in your life to create space for rest and joy, and water yourself? Kat?
Of course you come to me. So there's a running joke in the arts and culture community that I wear about 157 hats. I actually do. And so people can't figure out, how are you resting? So I'll be completely honest, I'm actually on the journey of understanding what rest is. Because service is rest for me, if I can't imagine doing anything else in my life. But, you know, I'm a first-time mother of a 5-year-old Afro-Caribbean, Harvard, UMass Boston, and just-esque child. And he reminds me about the things that we've forgotten as adults. Nap time. Nap time is essential. Whether it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. Instead of just putting my son down to sleep, I go to sleep right with him, because I understand that you exhaust yourself for 16 hours a day and never took a break. So for me, my rest is actually partly nap time. I love to drive. I love highway driving. I can imagine anything. I have the soundtrack that I want to create in my car. I love driving and figuring out where I'm going to end up next, right? Because the highway is endless. And what I've done more proactively for myself is reach out to folks I haven't really bonded with in a long time. Like, we text each other, we see each other, and say, hey, let's just go out for drinks or food or whatever the case. I know, I owe you one. But really trying to be intentional about, for all the folks that I've helped, but really getting to their humanity and just spending time with them is really where I find my rest now.
Coloring books. Don't knock it till you try it. If you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy, like, just get a couple markers, pencils. You know, I allowed the pandemic to, and many years before the pandemic, to kind of take me in a direction where work and Excel spreadsheets were kind of everything in everyday life, and I'm slowly rediscovering my own artistic voice. I just started taking classes from voice lessons from another queer man who is fantastic. I had never taken voice lessons before, and I can tell you every time I do it, I'm just like hopping and skipping down the hallway, and people are like, "What did you have for coffee this morning?" And I think the most recharging thing for me is just being in community of with people that really care deeply about me, about the world, about life. Just spending time with loved ones is becoming a greater area of focus and a privilege. I just got back from spending a week in Panama with my relatives, and you know, having not been there since 2020, it's the little things that matter, and it's really been. I'm really grateful for that time. So.
Thank you.
I think for me, it's the idea of unmasking. I think that as an artist, a lot of the time, I get to be myself, but I have to be this really high-polished, best version of myself when I go out, and I've decided to leave that at home from now on. Like, I work for myself. I decided to work for myself so I didn't have to perform for others. So why do I continue to not show up for myself, but show up for others in ways that don't feel genuine to myself? Like you were saying, coloring. I love to paint. I love to make a mess. My work is very clean. It's very technical typically. So anytime that I can take out paints and ruin my dining room table, it's mine now because I live alone. You know, just like, and getting dressed is another thing. I'll play dress up in my room. I also love to mosh in my room. Like I'll put on some metal and just lose my complete mind. I love you too. But I think there has to be some harmony to it, and allowing all of those pieces of myself to exist and all the pieces of my identity to exist. I used to feel like I could only like certain things, and I had to almost be in the closet about certain things that I like, and now you will not catch me not talking about Sims or not listening to metal at all times. I think that touching base with myself versus always having to be out. I can be within community by taking care of me. And I can't show up for others if I'm not taking care of me. And I thought for a long time that if I was there, I was doing my best. You're not doing your best if you're showing up as a quarter of you. It's okay to stay home. And that's a big thing that I learned this year. If I go ghost, it's not because I don't like you, it's because I like me. Yeah.
I don't have a timekeeper. Where are we at on time before I start? We good? Okay. Andres. You my favorite person now. So there's this thing that happens when you live in Boston, whether you're from Boston or whether you moved to Boston. If you are not white and you are in this city, people who don't live here are like, oh my God, Boston? Ain't no black people there. That's a racist city. And it's weird because I think it almost makes you, I never thought that I would ever, because I'm from the South, or what Pusha T calls the Middle East of America, that I would relate to the harsh, cold indignance of Boston until all my baby boo family and friends were like, why would you move there? And I was so offended. I was like, what you mean? It's a lot of black, it's a quarter black. It's 20% Latino, how dare you? And I was like, really caping for the city. And they were like, oh, you sound like a Bostonian. And I was like, go Celtics, bitch. But sorry, guys. But can you talk about Boston's not a white city. Boston is a city that's complicit in a facade of whiteness.
That part.
It is a city that's complicit in supremacist power structures, but this is not a white city. So can you talk about what it is like to be a person of color doing this work here to make people understand and make visible what has been forcibly and purposefully made invisible? That's for everybody.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think it's just for me. How many of us know Hubie Jones? I stand on the shoulders of Hubie, not literally because I'm really heavy, but
here.
Hubie, listen, I carry the fat badge with pride, okay? Like,
Me
it's
too.
just like,
I saw these chairs and I was like, can this handle it?
Hubie Jones is the founder of Boston Children's Chorus, and when I got the call about interviewing for this job, I'm new to Boston. I've been here for 2.5 years now, going on 3 soon. And when I got the call about, this opportunity, I was very confused. I thought, why are they calling to bring someone from another town for 7-year-olds singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? It made no sense. And it wasn't until I read about Hubie and the reason why he founded Boston Children's Chorus, and his work with founding Mass Advocates for Children and all the different places that Hubie shows up, is that I understood that this wasn't a random job call. It was you've been training and preparing your whole life to unlock your possibility, your potential in service of other people. I mentioned Hubie because I carry a lot of privilege in walking in shoes and paths that he's established before. That gives me access to a lot of places, like the Boston Foundation, which I'm happy to see change and movement forward in many ways. The city of Boston welcomed me with a very different way than many people that I've met. I was talking to Sheena about this about a year ago. Sheena Collier, founder of Boston While Black, and Sheena and I's experiences couldn't have been.
Instagram.com/Boston While Black. Rock with Sheena.
I'm a member, so y'all should. Yeah, great. Okay, good. In conversation with Sheena, I heard this report about, oh, Boston's so racist, Boston is this, Boston is that. As a foreign person who came to the States for college and only lived in DC, I didn't know a lot about Boston before moving here. And when I talked to Sheena, I said, this is not my experience. I moved to Boston and I met Kat, and I met Karthik, and I met Dawn, and I met all these black and brown creators and people that are moving and shaking, and I didn't have that lens applied to my arrival in Boston. It's been a really rich experience that now that I have the ability to be in spaces like these, and when I'm in predominantly white spaces, I don't carry with me the barriers that have been imposed on our institutions, on our places, but I am very aggressive in claiming this space. I don't bow down to the structures, to the powers. We are here. We have been here for a long time. With Boston Children's Chorus, I'm looking to make our institution way more service-focused, in service of people of color, black and brown children. The number of Latinx children in the city of Boston is humongous. And I just think I'm really fortunate to not have that experience with Boston, and to just celebrate the joy of being up here with all of you, and having this be my reality and my lived experience, and having no other story of Boston in my head. And that's really lucky, and I know that I'm the exception.
No, because I've had that experience. Like, I understand racism is here. I just don't. I've had racism in Kansas City. I grew up in the DMV. There's racism there. Like, I just feel like the city itself and the power structures have been very complicit in erasing the fact that this is actually a city that is primarily made up of people of color. And everyone up here is doing the work to, like you said, to aggressively claim that space. So I don't want anyone thinking like I'm saying there's no racism. Like, if you read me, I recognize we got work to do. The work persists. Different conductors get on the train to move the revolution forward, like Catherine Morris.
Well, I will say as a native of Boston, I'm very, thank you, because I've gotten so annoyed when people badmouth my city. Okay? We don't have any kind of special racism. It is everywhere. I think that it's easier to place blame on one city to take the narrative off of others, right? So I'm always, anytime that I am introduced to someone or a group of people that are coming to Boston, oftentimes my name comes up, which is interesting. But I feel like it's my role and responsibility to show people who come here the sides of Boston that I grew up in, where there are generational families, there are cultural institutions that sustain Black and brown culture, right? Example, Chez Vu, roller skating rink. It is a space that even if you don't know how to roller skate, when you walk into that building, it is a vibe. It is a generational vibe, it is a music vibe, it's everything. For me, I feel like I'm always having to defend my city, even when I go other places, because the Boston that I grew up in, I hang on to those memories. I still know all those families. And I am so proud to boast and brag about a history of Boston that's often suppressed, that has retained those who are from here, those who come here and want to stay here, and those we haven't even met yet, right? I think the other thing for me is when I travel to other cities where there are other Black folks, I tell it on the mountain, come to Boston. You know, don't worry about all the stuff that you're hearing. We're no different than any other city. I think what I find is that complacency is a real issue. That I've learned over the last 20 years, Boston and Massachusetts has lost its confidence in what it can do. And we have more work to do in that space.
So I have to thank Cat Morris. It's a very long story that I can't do now, but if it wasn't for Cat Morris, I really wouldn't be on this stage. No, for real. But I've been in the city for 11 years, and when I first got here, I had a difficult time because I didn't know where Black and brown people were. I ended up going to school at LaSalle University, an incredibly racist institution. I don't care about saying it out loud. I hope they email me. And it was a majority white, and I had no support on campus. I received death threats when I was trying to organize for Trayvon Martin. And that summer, I decided to not go back to New Jersey, which is another very racist place. And I found my home in Boston, and I've been here ever since. It's been 11 years, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. And while I've been here, I've seen so many incredible creatives go. I have to go to LA to make it happen. I have to go to New York and make it happen. How about staying and changing the place for the better within the community that gave you your start? I have no intention of leaving the city until I have something phenomenal to give back and open doors for other people to come through and for other people to be photographers and local historians, because I can't say it officially. So, thank you. Of course, there's racism here. There's racism everywhere. I, of course, am looking at this from a privileged lens as a biracial, light-skinned person who has some college education. But I, have witnessed it firsthand, especially through my protest work, especially through being stalked by the police. Coming home from protests and there being Proud Boys outside my front door. It does exist here, and it's evil, but it's evil everywhere. And if you are within your community and you're grounded within your community and you're doing the work for the right reasons, there's no reason to leave. I find more joy here than I find harm here, and I've experienced a lot of harm here at the hands of white violence. So, did that answer everything?
That did.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, we could talk all day, but we can't because we got more programming. But no, all of you answered that beautifully. And I know we might have some questions in the audience, so before we do that, and I, beg Andres to sing for us. Drop the album.
The joy and fear in his eyes was.
You teach children. Can each of you please, I'll ask my question that I ask of everybody, which is, what makes your life a beautiful resistance?
Oh, chill, y'all. I think the beautiful thing about working with Janae in this series is that I've been asked this question a couple of times now. And I think every time I'm asked, it changes, and it's allowed me to reflect on where I am in my life. My beautiful resistance, right? My life is a beautiful resistance right now because I've found how to rest and use rest as weaponry. And that is so joyful as a stressed out Black person, right? Like, I have been taught my whole life that love can't exist without harm, that success can't exist without pain. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't have to fall into those standards. So my life is a beautiful resistance because I'm choosing myself. Yeah.
Same thing. You ask me this all the time, and I feel like it's like different chapters. I think right now for me, my life is a beautiful resistance because I learned to forgive myself for a lot of decisions and also then forgive others so that I can move forward in my life.
I think my life is a beautiful resistance because I can listen deeply. And in listening deeply, I'm able to actually touch and engage in like really raw, deep conversations with people. And although it can be exhausting at times, being part of joy and pain of someone else is, a beautiful resistance. So.
Yes. I ask people that question, even people who have asked it before. I never hesitate to ask it again because I look at it as a meditation. My life is a beautiful resistance because I woke up today. And because I woke up, that means I'm possible. And every day that we have possibilities, there's room to dream and grow, enjoy, and make change. And you all are a beautiful resistance too. Does anyone have any questions for these esteemed, beautiful humans?
Good morning. I want to ask about art as therapy, art as healing, because I find that there are stories and the canon is replete about how art heals and can make healing. How people will use art therapeutically for that same thing. In fact, I could argue that resistance is healing and therapeutic, especially when you find that your resistance results in positive change. So, back to my original question, can you speak to how art as a healing source has affected you?
You don't have to argue that. That's just a fact. You're just accurate. That's just a fact. James Baldwin knew it. Mother Morrison knew it. Frederick Douglass. We're here at UMass Boston. JFK all spoke on this important power of the arts. Art saved my life. Writing is an art. It's a craft. And I literally would not be on this stage if I was not able to write. It has kept me from crawling under the bed and letting the bed fall on me forever. It is my savior that God gave me. How art is healing.
May I? Is that okay? During the 2020 protests, I was going through a divorce. I was locked in my home. I was watching all of these things happen from tiny phone screens, iPad, laptop, computer, right? It was like this going all around those screens. And when I realized I felt like there was nothing that I could do besides get into the street, I got into the street. And I was shooting probably 4 or 5 protests a day for 6, 7 months. I was exhausted. Me and all of my friends lost a ton of weight, but we were happy. We were happy and we were fighting through this thing together and we were creating images that told stories that honestly white journalists could not capture the same way we could. And through that resistance, I found a place in my community that created joy in therapy. It gave us a place to step back and look at these images and go like, there's a lot more joy here than there is anger. I think about all the times that we stopped to dance on the side of a road and we cried while we danced and we hugged and we listened to each other and we held each other as we got horrible news and we held each other as we got great news. We watched people get married and have families in the past 2 years through this. So for me, resistance is therapy. Resistance is creative joy for me, and it is a fueling aspect of every moment of my life, whether it is photography and protest work or it's just appearing as I do. I think the way you get dressed in the morning is art therapy. I think the way I choose to tattoo my body is art therapy. I really think it's about perspective. Where you can find it is where you should take it.
Hello. How you guys doing? Thank you for being here. My question is that, okay, so I'm going to start with a comment. We all need healing, but what do we do as our black men and black women needs healing from traumas? What do we start at?
I think for different ones of us is different. You know, my journey coming to the U.S. From a pretty multicultural country, Panama's really mixed. You can try to say that you're one race or another, but my guess is so many peoples have gone through my country that it's hard to say at any given point. I just learned about even more ancestry in my family that I didn't know about. And I think for me personally, it started in acceptance and healing. I landed in a pretty predominantly white town, college, among a lot of people with privilege. And I think for the last 10 years of my life, I looked at that kind of arrival in a particular way. I saw success, I saw, I've accomplished things, and I think in the last 5 or so years I've been re-examining what my past in the US has been and really seeing what kind of the structures, the predominant structures that dominate a lot of our institutions, what they robbed me of, right? I got to the US and I never really encountered what HBCUs were until I moved to DC. That was 3.5 years into my being in the country. I never got to experience that. I was just in DC. I wasn't attending Howard's homecoming, but a friend was going to the celebrations, and I said, at some point I want to take an internship with you and actually, spend time with you learning what your experience at Spelman was like. But I'm really coming to accept and heal that I might have been robbed of that opportunity of learning about what my connection with the U.S. Black community could be, all the things we have in common, all the things we have different, and celebrate those things. But it's really been a journey of just coming to accept that and heal from it and then take action, which is what okay, great. We're looking at the trauma, we're looking at the hurt, but what are we going to do about it? That's the part that, at least me personally, it's always what's the next step?
For me, you can't see this, but this tattoo says "Water Me," and it's a flower, and it's inspired by the work of Christina Martinez, who is a Black and Mexican artist who centers Black and brown women blooming and healing through her work. And whenever people say, where do we start, I always think with yourself. We individually are our first revolution. We are our first garden. We are our first resistance. We are our first love. And as you start to heal yourself, then you can take part of collective healing, communal healing, societal healing, the larger resistance and revolution that creates change. But it's like we have to first recognize that we all are under this umbrella of supremacy. Everybody's wet. Everybody is complicit in some of this, in the privilege and in the power, and also in the way that it subconsciously taints how we view ourselves and view others in the divisions. And it's like until we all recognize where we are, how wet we are under that cloud, we can't start to heal. So much of it is like really looking at yourself and understanding how hurt you are and how affected you are so that you could start to heal from it and really bloom in your joy and bloom in your revolution and your power and your fight and your righteous indignation. Does anyone else want to add anything else? Because I think we gotta.
I just want to say that in all of what you all mentioned is that vulnerability is, like, that's a lifeblood. We all have to be vulnerable. We're either really angry or we're one of two extremes, but being in the middle is the hardest thing. But you have to start with self, and that means you have to explore every action of emotion, reaction that you have to things, to then work backwards of either how you're going to undo, how you communicate, how you physically respond to someone before you can save or help someone else. So that vulnerability piece is really, really crucial in the self-exploration, self-preservation, and also just changing, who you are or modifying the things that mean the most to you, that are going to advance you or get you to that phase of where you can start to have conversations with other people.
In a very similar, whatever this means, I think it makes sense. Kind of an amalgamation of the three of the things. For me, it's understanding the system by myself so I can teach other people how to navigate it. And that means being able to put myself first, whether it's therapy and psychiatry and finding great doctors, or it's being able to get work published and being able to trade those skills to other people. Healing really does begin with yourself. And I find that when I wasn't trying to heal, I was projecting my own stuff onto others and making matters worse. So sometimes you can't lead before you're healed. So yeah, yourself first.
So we're going to wrap up with this one last question from one of our online viewers. His name is Paul, and the question is, if you could wave a magic wand, what's one thing you wish you could have to make a difference in your work?
Time. History, when you look at history, the decades, the days, the minutes, the hours, so many decisions were made, and we're not inclusive of a lot of people at the table. So I feel like if I could weigh, there are certain moments in our history that if we had more time, we could have changed certain things that I feel like would have sped up to where we are today.
This is loaded. Sorry, I'm deep in thought because there's a lot of things I wish I could change, right? I thought I knew, but I don't think I know. I think, okay, this is what I'm going to say. I've worked extremely hard in my 29 years of life. I've done a lot of really incredible work that I'm so proud of, and I've already seen big change in the city just based off of the work that I've created. The first time my young Black twin sisters walked into a museum, it was 4 headlining Black fine artists. It was myself, Virgil Abloh, and 2 other people whose names are escaping me. Stephen Hamilton, I'm gonna butcher her name, Farley Baez, you know who I'm talking about? Okay, I apologize, she's phenomenal though. And honestly, in that moment, I was like, and I don't plan on this, but if I passed away right now, I would be cool with it. I feel like I would have left a legacy that has made an impact. I think the only thing that I would change is being less susceptible to death threats. Like honestly, that's it. That's really all it is. Like, just give me space to be myself and practice my work without seeing me as the opposition. A win for me is a win for all of us, for all of the human race, and I think that's it.
I'm so tired of being threatened. So tired. I also struggle with answering that question, and I feel like my answer will be different 10 minutes from now and 10 minutes ago, but in this moment, I do want to respect the question and answer it. So I guess in this moment, I would say I wish for more grace for everybody, like for all of us. I think as much, like every answer on here is the right answer. More time would have helped. More time would always help. And grace is something that we are so lacking, and it has gotten us to a place where I am constantly horrified about what's next. To OJ's point, you know, they get threatened, I get threatened, their stalker. It's just always something. And it's like, I think about us, and we are, you know, what my friend Kimmy would call low-key, you know, low-key somebody, low-key famous. You know, we're not really famous. So I think about what it means for the people who have the megaphones who are getting even worse threats and worse opposition, or the people who are, you know, Ayanna Pressley out here doing this hard work every day and having to deal with so much opposition and hate and harshness and the lack of tenderness when we are constantly surrounded by hard edges. If we had grace there, if there was just grace from everyone in every direction, possibly that's where our gardens could grow. I don't know. I don't even know if that was a good answer.
For me, it's empathy. If I had a magic wand, I would roll back centuries and just implant empathy into every single person that was making horrible decisions. And, you know, what could the world be today if, yeah, empathy.
I just want to thank you all for sitting with us. I want to thank my panelists for being a community with me, and thank the Coopers for this amazing, amazing day. What an honor. You are all joy. You are all love. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you.
Let's give them another round of applause. Once again, please support A Beautiful Resistance with the Boston Globe, Boston Children's Choir, BAM Fest. We'll be sending out more information about JIE, all the organizations. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, I hope you all are inspired, encouraged, and empowered. Such moving words by talented artists and contributors to our communities. Want to thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to share your wisdom and insights with us and inspire us with the great work that you're doing. At this time, I want to make sure, we have a couple of students who I'm going to introduce here momentarily who are going to give some brief remarks, followed by a performance by our African Students Union group, and then we will go into our breakout workshop facilitation sessions, which I'll be introducing momentarily, so sit tight. Before I move forward, I want to make sure I was notified, and I want to be respectful that we did not provide a land acknowledgement statement earlier, so in respect to Native American and Indigenous tribes, I would like to read the following statement with the utmost respect on behalf of Black Lives Matter Day and the University of Massachusetts, Boston. We are living and working on stolen land from indigenous peoples of the Americas. Specifically, I'm speaking to you from the land of the Massachusetts tribe of Ponkapog. No words can rectify the wrongs imposed upon those who inhabited this land and subsequently had their land unjustly stolen via immoral settler colonization. However, we state this acknowledgement to honor and preserve their histories, stand in solidarity with their lineage's efforts to reclaim their lands, and foster as much reconciliation as humanly possible. I want to say a special remarks to the director, Dr. Cedric Woods of our Institute for New England and Native American Studies here at the university. Black Lives Matter stands in solidarity with Native Americans and indigenous people who have suffered from settler colonization and various forms of violence and oppression as well. So I just wanted to state that. Next up, we have the president of our Black Student Center, Ms. Anchelle Igi, She'll be coming up giving brief remarks, one of our outstanding student leaders doing a great job with one of our largest black student organizations. She will just come and give a few brief remarks about her background here at the university, as well as the work of the BSC. So we could give Anchelle a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Wait, can you guys hear me clearly? Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Black faculty and staff for not only giving me the opportunity to speak today, but also making this event come to life. Wow. Sorry. It's not every day that we honestly have events that help us see, wow. Give me a minute, y'all. I don't do this often. I'm really nervous, not gonna lie. Okay. Okay. It's not every day that we have events that highlight our excellence and greatness, so this honestly really hits home. Moment of honesty, when Joseph had asked him to speak today, I went up to him and I was like, Dr. Cooper, what am I gonna say? Because I don't know. And he told me to just be myself and speak about what I represent. So with that being said, my name is Anchelle Aggie and I'm the coordinator of the Black Student Center. And it's here on the 3rd floor of this building right here. With a show of hands, how many people know about the Black Student Center here? Oh, okay. With a show of hands, how many people know where the Black Student Center is? Okay, this is really good, really good. A lot of people on campus don't actually know where the center is. I'm happy that everyone here does, but a lot of people don't, and it makes me question, why is it that the entire campus isn't aware about the Black Student Center and where it is? We attend a minority-majority institution, which is why why is it that we have students who don't know where the Black Student Center is or who feel like they don't belong here? Wow. So the Black Student Center was a space created, I'm so sorry, guys. The Black Student Center was a space created for students to come and feel and be with students who look like them, talk like them, or even grew up like them without feeling judged. It was created to be a space that promotes Black excellence, increases retention rates, and encourages resilience. And the Black Student Center, we have a lot of greatness. We have Michael, who is a digital content creator. He creates all the flyers for all of our events. We have Ari, Marley, and Angie, who do hair. We have Elijah, who has a clothing brand, and that's only just 5 people who are great in our center. We have a lot of people who do a lot of different things. Wow. So I only listed about 5 students so that you guys have to go upstairs and meet the students for yourselves. Like, we have Champagne, who draws. He hand draws onto sneakers designs. We have students who do everything. We have me, myself. I own a natural skincare and hair care company. So if you guys leave here today and take nothing from this speech, I want you guys to know that there is a Black Student Center here, and the students could always use resources and supports from everybody. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event.
Right, before our outstanding African Students Union's performance, we have 3 additional students, or at least 2, who we'd like to come up and say a few brief remarks. Mr. Justin Santiago, Mr. Marvell Mellon, and Mr. David Faree, if you all would like.
Good morning, everybody. So my name is Justin Santiago, former student athlete. I just graduated over the summer. Thank you. So while here, I was also a double major, business management and sports leadership. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, for bringing that amazing program here at UMass Boston. So I feel like while on campus, towards the end of like my 3rd and 4th year, I could really see my mindset change on this campus, and it was for the better. It was like for my community. I could see how I could really start to serve my community here in Boston on this campus. And one of the ways that I decided to do that was to institutionalize success for our minority students on campus. And a big part of that was My Brother's Keeper and me becoming the founding vice president of My Brother's Keeper on this campus. So I think a big way to sum up MBK and My Brother's Keeper was how MBK was able to provide support academically, mentally, and economically through the networking opportunities for all the students in the program and making sure that we're all graduating at a good place and placing all of our students with jobs after graduation. And that's just really been a big part of it. Not possible without Dr. Cooper and his support. And sometimes you kind of just need somebody to tell you that you have great ideas, and that has been everything that Dr. Cooper has done for us at MBK. So yeah, that's really it. Thank you, Dr. Cooper.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Marvell Mellon. I am a senior here at UMass Boston, sports leadership administration major. Appreciate that. I think my first year coming here, I got lucky. I ran into the great man, Dr. Cooper, and without him, I don't think I realized how much greatness I have inside myself. First time I met him, he just collectively uplifted everybody, and I saw someone that I could see as myself within him. And now me and him have built a great relationship, and I've taken any opportunity I can to grow. And with all his insight, it's been an amazing experience here at UMass Boston, and I've been able to get out of my comfort zone. I'm doing this right here. I'd never do this in my life, but because of Coop, man, I think I've grown a lot, and I've been a part of MBK now, treasurer of MBK, and I've met amazing brothers, Emmanuel, Justin, my man David behind me. So this is a great day. Happy BLM Day, and be great, everybody. All right. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Ferry, and excuse me, I'm very nervous because I didn't expect this, but I am a senior majoring in biology. And thank you. It's really hard right now. But yeah, I just want to say, real quick before the performance, I'm actually glad to be a part of the clubs, to be a part of the community, which is My Brother's Keeper. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, my man over there. And it's just really a great experience to continue to serve the community whilst trying to get this degree. So, and also, I would love to say that I am a proud African, and I'll always be proud, and just remember to be proud of who you are, So, yeah, thank you.
Right, great job, students, great job. It's our responsibility to support our students, to provide them with opportunities to develop a range of skills, including their public speaking skills. I know some of them were nervous about it, but I said it's not Black Lives Matter Day without you. We need your presence, we need your voice, and they're doing an outstanding job as student leaders here on campus. So we are very excited to have our African Students Union student group do a dance performance for us. Following their performance, and I'll repeat this afterwards, we will be in our workshop breakout sessions. Our first session will be here in Ballroom C by Miss Marlene Boyette. The session focuses on self-awareness, rest, and liberation, shifting cultural patterns and narratives in the name of wellness and healing. That will be here in Ballroom C. The next session will be in Campus Center, second floor, room 2545. We will have volunteers helping guide you to these sessions. It is titled Trust Your Gut, Live Theater Workshop by Mr. Vincent Siders. And our third workshop will be here on the third floor in Campus Center, room 3540, by our Hip Hop Archives leaders groups, Dr. Pacey Foster, Born by Kim, Bernard Smoke Instroke Johnson, and Sevilla Malloy. And it is titled Piecing Together the Pieces, a conversation about preserving local hip hop culture with the Massachusetts Hip Hop Archive at UMass Boston. So following the student performances, we're going to ask each of you, you can rotate. We have 2 sessions back to back where the workshop facilitators will be doing the same session. So although there are 3 sessions, you will be able to attend at least 2. For those who are watching online, we will be live streaming all of the sessions. They'll just be going at different times. So stay tuned. You'll have the option of watching them online as well. So without further ado, we have Mr. DJ Chubby Chub in the building who will be playing live music. I want to say a special shout out to DJ Chubby Chub. He just came from overseas literally this morning. I want to thank Miss Cynthia Oriana who invited him. This is the type of love that we've gotten from our community members for BLM Day here at the university, where we have internationally recognized artists who travel the world sharing their craft, who make time to come here to this wonderful university to be a part of our special day. So thank you, DJ Chubby Chub, for being here. African Student Union, let's get it. All right, let's give the African Students Union another round of applause. Outstanding job setting the mood right for the morning. Before breakout sessions, once again, everyone make sure you grab a t-shirt. Please grab food. At this time, for those who are attending the Marlene Boyette breakout session here in Ballroom C, right next door, self-awareness, rest, and liberation, shifting cultural patterns and narratives in the name of wellness and healing. Please feel free to walk over to Ballroom C now. You will have an opportunity to rotate. So this session will go until 11:30, and then we'll have a rotation. You'll go to another workshop for 11:30 to 12:30, and we'll be back in here for our keynote speech and award ceremony. For the second breakout session concurrently, Trust Your Gut live theater workshop downstairs, Vincent Siders, that is in Campus Center room 2545. Campus Center room 2545. And then our third session with the Hip Hop Archives is in room 3540, Piecing Together the Pieces, a conversation about preserving local hip hop culture with the Massachusetts Hip Hop Archive at UMass Boston, led by Dr. Pacey Foster, Born by Kim, Bernard Smoke and Stroke Johnson Jr., and Sivia Malloy. Thank you. So everyone can head to these breakout sessions and support our community artists and learn about the great work they're doing here in the community. We'll see you back in here at 12:30.